Let's get to the next thing. We saw some faces rejoin the lineup. First time in over a month. Yohan Moncada, he was back, and Jake Berger finally came back today. So, what do you think return wise? Either of these guys jump off wherever you want.
Moncada hit a couple of balls hard here over the weekend. He did have a double that was close to getting out of the ballpark. I think that was was that Saturday night.
I think so, yeah.
So he had a couple of good plate appearances in there. And then Jake Berger just doing what he's been doing all season to this point. Really show no ill effects of that oblique injury. Go and find the left field bleachers right away here. I think it was in his second at bat this afternoon. So doing what he has done all season, providing consistent power when he is in the lineup. And we are now at the point here, and we talked about this before he went on the IL. Jake Berger has to be in the lineup every day. Whatever that means, whomever that means, you have to sit. If that, means Andrew Vaughn has to sit every once in a while, Gavin Sheets, Eloy, Yohan Moncada. I mean, the fact of the matter is one of them odds are is going to be hurt. So, the DH spot or some spot is going to be available. But Jake Berger, his bat needs to be in the lineup.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. I agree 100%. And you saw the immediate impact he makes when he comes back and blasts a home run, keeps you in the game, right? I know they weren't able to come back and complete the rally, but it at least gave you a shot, a little more hope there. And I think his presence too. He's a good clubhouse guy. That's a good shot in the arm for the team, so to say. And then Moncada, I mean, I worry about this. I think he looked okay all weekend. I know he did get hit in the toe, and then you always wonder when you see a trainer come out, hold your breath a little bit. But you and I were talking about this a little bit, and I wanted to bring it to the listeners here. And I'm just concerned, knowing what we know from just our research and then the medical people that you talked to that were able to relay this information on me. I'm just concerned about the smallest little thing throwing Yohan Moncada off again, because that's a protruding disc in his back, and feel like that's something that can be aggravated very easily.
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit of context for the listeners here. For those of you that don't know, I do have an actual day job. I fool people into thinking that I am a professional. So I am in the medical sales arena, and I do a lot of work with orthopedic spine surgeons. And when the diagnosis of Moncada's protruding disc in his back was announced, I had a text conversation with one of the spine surgeons I work with pretty regularly. And he had mentioned to me basically that because of the fact that the disc is causing radiating pain going down into his leg, that is something that is consistent with an injury that is not going to just go away. It is something that can flare up at really just random moments. The slightest movement can cause that disc to do some things and to cause that radiating pain to present itself again. So it really does come down to, at this point, Moncada having a good plan in place with the training staff here to maintain flexibility and pliability, and just making sure that he's doing the proper maintenance and getting appropriate rest, which, depending on what you hear on social media, isn't always Yohan kind of strong suit here. But this is something that the likelihood is there is going to be a flare-up at some point during the course of the season. We don't know when, and it might just be a little tiny thing that could happen. Sliding to avoid a tag. You don't know what it could be, but the probability that this is something that is not going to go away is there from the conversations I've had.
Yeah, right. I think that's a good rundown of it, but that just it puts another kind of seed of doubt in my mind. And I like this comment that our guy Matt says. I'm concerned that wearing a White Sox jersey is an autoimmune disease. It feels like that. It really does feel like that. But for Moncada specifically, because we've seen it in the past, and it's just like you said, something like sliding into a base, diving for a ball in the field, and it's like a slow get up, and then you're wondering, it's like, is he actually like hurt, or is he just, is it pride hurt, or is it, you just like did something awkward on the play, but he's still going to be okay? And it feels like that happens a lot with him, very frequently. And now when I see that happen, I'm going to think the worst about back. So I really hope it's something that he's able to manage, but I'm also kind of just feeling like it's going to be inevitable, right? And you're just waiting. It's like a time bomb, and you're just waiting for it to go off.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment of the situation. And we've seen this with him and a number of other guys on this roster that, he'll go and something will happen out there on the field and he'll wince. It'll be caught on camera. Everybody on twitter.com will be seeing it saying, oh, here we go again with Moncada. And then 2 innings later, he gets removed from the game. And then it turns into an injury update and we don't see him for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
That is a very real legitimate fear at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's just the hand that we're dealt here. That's all we can do to deal with it here. So we'll see. But it was good to see him play in all of the games, and I know Tim Anderson has kind of been on he's more back into his regular schedule, but I think everybody was a little bit frustrated in that he was playing a couple and then sitting, and then playing a couple and then sitting. But it seems like that one's evened out. We'll see about Moncada, what the plan that they have in place is there, because I would imagine he's not ready to be fully pushed if that's going to be the extent of that injury there, and just the details of it sounds volatile, I guess, is the best word that I could use to describe it.